Hi, good evening, guys. How are we doing today?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm good. I'm good. I had a rough, long day, but I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm glad to hear that all of us are doing well. I see somebody that joined us is 103561. We need to take the register. Can you please put your full first and last name? And person 103561, can you please identify yourself? We want to make sure we're not being hacked. You know, the hackers and scammers are out there, so we want to make sure that you should be here. Anybody? Is anybody there?
Hi, I'm sorry, that's me, Shauna Roker.
Shauna Roker. Okay, Shauna, can you just hover over the number and change your name, please, so Miguel can take the register for us?
Sure, sorry, I'm using my iPad. My apologies.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, trust that you've had a productive week. I see that a lot of homework has been coming in, so I'm very pleased. And what happened last week with your question one was that a lot of you did not do an overview of the three cases. There were three cases at the back that talked about bribery and corruption, and most of you only did an overview of one case. And so I got a lot of 50% and 60% from my cross marker. So what I did is, because I knew that we had discussed it and I had read the essays and I had felt that, you know, most persons did understand they were on the right track. I increased the grade because we would still have a lot, you know, we'd have a lot of persons having to do a redo. So for the most part, I was able to strike a deal with the cross marker and say, listen, even though three of them should be discussed in the overview, I will ensure that when we get to the review for the final exam, that everybody is aware. If there are three cases, you have to do an overview of the three cases, okay? And then if you need to do a comparison to the Bahamas, then you need to at least find two cases where you can compare it to. Okay, and I think for the most part, I was able to give most of you got 100%, which was very good in the end because we based it off the one um, overview that y'all completed. But there were a few persons that had to do a redo, and so um, I'm gonna check to see if the cross marker would have gotten to those redos as well and try to get those grades out. But like I said, for the most part, persons seem to understand how to read the questions at the back of the book, complete an overview, and then compare it to the Bahamas. Very good in the end. After we discussed it, everything worked out. All right. Are there any questions? Does anybody have questions about the question one? Anybody who have gotten their grade back and had an issue, or everybody is clear? That was a question.
I'm clear.
I'm clear.
Everybody is clear? Okay. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, do we have anybody with newspaper or their civic organization? And again, that's another area that I am very pleased in. Persons aren't taking it for granted and waiting till the last moment to miss their 5 points because they know how important it is and they know how it can assist you. The difference between 65 and 70, the difference between an A and a B is just that 5 points. So very good. A lot of persons have been to their civic group. A lot of persons have participated and read the newspaper. Now, I just want to make sure, Miss Bullet, just keep bad records. And I always talk about organization and all these things I make you all do, right? So let me just go across these grades and make sure that everybody who would have participated, at least the civic organization, for the most part, this is week 6. And some of those persons that sent in homework, I did not know their names. And I didn't even realize that it was homework. So please, if this is week 6 and Miss Bullet does not know you, please start talking. Okay, because we're more than halfway through the class, so I should definitely know who you are, and y'all should be in my network, but a few of you are not there. Okay, so that means I don't have any points for you. Okay, Bria, go ahead. I'm just trying to pull up the grades, and for some reason the grades aren't pulling up. But go ahead, Bria.
You could go first. I just had a newspaper, but I've been given newspaper articles from the class start, so I don't have. I don't have
like
to go.
20 points. You should have like 20
Yeah.
points for those papers. Yeah, Bria, you
Yeah.
go ahead because my computer, I on a different network and my computer ain't pulling up. So by the time you tell your story, I should find these grades somewhere deep in this computer. So you go ahead.
Sure. So I read today in the newspaper from the Life of Key Foundation, they said that this year had probably the highest record of applicants since the Life of Key scholarship started. And they said that they guess it was due to Hurricane Dorian and COVID-19. It had a significant impact on scholarship recipients. Like a lot of scholarships weren't available anymore since Dorian and the pandemic. So there's an influx number of applicants, and we know that they award scholarships to persons seeking to pursue mostly degrees and programs that they cannot do here. And they said that they'll try their best to facilitate all. And I really like that, but it also shows us the dire need for assistance in education here in the Bahamas and a lot of the family islands as well. They said that they were able to give out 27 new scholarships for the year so far. And they will give out about 58 more between this year and next year. And this year they had 13 recipients from New Providence, 11 from Grand Bahama, and 1 from Abaco so far. So.
Okay, and Bria, let me I'm glad you shared that because I had a similar, these scholarships have been around for years, and it is a difficult application process, but it is achievable. They do
Yeah.
actually for a lot of stuff, but it is achievable, and a lot of persons have benefited from it. And I just want to say there are a lot of opportunities out there. However, a lot has been rolled out back because of the pandemic. So a lot of organizations, of course, that'll be the first thing. Any bonuses or giveaways or discounts, all have been rolled back because they lost a lot, and they just basically trying to keep their head above the water and maintain all their staff. And so many businesses have experienced that, and it just reminds me of my institution. My institution offered $3,000 a year. Royal Bank offered $3,000 a year in school fee money, and a lot of persons didn't take advantage of it. And as a manager of operations, I had a lot of entry level staff in my department, and we started to have a lot of issues. And of course, the first thing you look at the level of experience in the department and the educational background. And when I pulled those resumes, I saw that quite a number of persons, at least 5 persons, had just come out of high school. But of course, this would have been like a receptionist and somebody in the filing room, and an intern. And I then made it mandatory in my department to go to school. I said Royal Bank is going to pay up to $3,000 a year. It's mandatory if you have a high school diploma for you to work in my department. And I got a lot of pushback. I got reported to head office. One guy was already in a bachelor's program where his mom went to the bank to get a loan, and so she was grateful that Royal Bank was going to pay $3,000. She didn't have to go and get a loan anymore. And she thanked me. Somebody else said that I was ruining their life. And then my office closed down. And as a part of the separation package, we included everybody who was in school. We included their school fee. So no longer the $3,000 a year, but if your program costs $10,000, we gave you the school a $10,000. Somebody is was doing their MBA. We paid $30,000 for them to complete their MBA. Okay, those 2 persons who had reported me to head office and said that I was ruining their life for making them go to school,
They got none.
me, said, "Can you please pay my school fee?" And I said, "No, I'm very sorry. It's only for persons who's already enrolled in a program." Okay, and so they lost that benefit. And one of those persons had already been with Royal Bank for 10 years. Okay, so I just say all of that to say there are opportunities out there, and you don't know when they are going to end. So please, if you see an opportunity, take advantage of it. It does take a lot. The application process is tedious, but it's worth it. Okay, so take advantage. And I know a lot of procrastination is very easy, and a lot of us do it, but please don't procrastinate, and try your best to seize the opportunity. And I always tell persons, if your organization offers school now, tuition help and memberships for various groups, please ask them to take advantage of that. Speak with your HR, see what the opportunities are, and take advantage of that. Okay. Anybody else wants to add? And thank you, Bria, for sharing that.
Okay, no
But I
problem.
really don't, some people say, "Oh, I don't want my supervisor in my business. I don't want nobody to know I in school. I don't want them to have my grades." Listen to me. Take advantage of that opportunity. In the United States, there's a $1 trillion debt in terms of school fees. So you need to be educated, but you have to find a workaround to pay for it. Please don't get caught up in loans, because a lot of persons are bogged down with student debt. And my last story, and because I want y'all to chime in now, y'all got to talk back to me. My last story of how serious it is. I have some rental units in Nassau, and my tenants, one is a lawyer and one is a doctor. And of course, I have this whole application process, and you fill it out, but I go by intuition. If my spirit take to you, then I go rent to you. But if my spirit don't take, I rented to you. And so with this lawyer and doctor, I was like, wait a minute, because I just live in the East, nowhere fancy. And so I said, why would, somebody of, making the type of money that you make, you want to rent and then not live out west or on the Eastern Road? And I said, you certainly can afford it from your job letters. And they said, we can afford it, but we also want a house. And both of us have student loans and we cannot qualify for a mortgage because of our student loans for at least 6 years. And so, we have to get an affordable apartment so that we don't live in your apartment forever. Right. And so they've been my tenants for the past 5 years now, very good tenants. But every time I feel for them because of student debt, they cannot qualify for a mortgage.
But Miss
Okay.
Bullen, I was about to ask you why you are being prejudiced, because those kinds of tenants, you can almost be sure you can get your monies, your
Well,
rent.
rich people don't pay bills. Only poor people pay bills. You're talking about no. Don't look at no title. Lawyers and doctors. No, they have friends in high places. They don't pay bills. Poor people is pay bills or go to jail. Rich people, they don't pay.
You're right. Rich people is the cheapest.
They'll pay for where they have to live. Otherwise, they know they'll have to be thrown out. So I'm sure they'll be obligated to make sure those payments go through.
A lawyer who know the law, you can't evict somebody. Girl,
That is true.
I thank God. I just have to pray. For my tenants that they have financial stability all through the pandemic. I was praying because he know the law and you can't evict somebody. Right? You have to go to the court and the court is give them like 90 days. So yeah, don't, like I say, if you go to the crime is very bad in Nassau. You go to the courts in the night, there's no seat for a traffic court. There's no seat where small claims court, where water and sewage and BEC and the banks have people from repossessions. There's no seat. Okay. Our police are excellent. They are expert at locking up poor people. The rich people who live in Laifaki, the bank just write their loans off. They just call their buddies and they just be laughing. When we look at our repossessed list, all the rich people, let's look at Leslie Miller. Leslie Miller had a $25 million loan to Bank of the Bahamas with $9 million worth of assets. Okay, that's a shortfall of how much? 10, 12 million? Tell me where you could go and have a shortfall of $1,000 in the bank still to give you the money. Where? Who could do that?
Status. It's called status.
Okay, so only poor people go to jail and only poor people pay bills.
And only
so
poor
make
people
sure
like
y'all ain't poor people. Okay, make sure y'all have 5 revenue streams and y'all invest and a network and know the right people and use the network for good now, not for bad. No Ben Laden network. No Ben Laden network in this class. None. Okay, good. All right, guys. Thank you, Bria, for sharing. Anybody else read the newspaper?
I would like to share on something I read today in the newspaper, Ms. Bullet. I'm having a difficulty because I'm not home yet, so I'm in transit. But the article was about the AG optimistic view about the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force meeting this in November, which, if it's successful, will make the Bahamas compliant with all 40 of the Financial Action Task Force. I thought that this country was already compliant.
Yeah, we are largely compliant in 30, and I think there are 10 where we have to tweak. And so one was, remember, we did the tax laws, but we said VAT and customs duty, if you evade those taxes, then you go to jail. So now they fixed that to say international taxes. So if you evade your taxes in Canada or in the US, then you go to jail. So little snippets. Remember now, we have to take a staggered approach. So little snippets in the last 10 that we need to fix so that you don't hire do sealing men on a technicality.
Okay, so that means that the last 10 now, because they're saying 40 of 40, that means they would have gotten. One of the things that he also mentioned that I thought was key was that he said they're gonna have to look into a whole, I guess, a government unit or somebody taking over this whole instead of them, I guess the AG office dealing with it, they'll have to have a government unit to take over us being or keeping us compliant with these requirements.
Okay, so what happened was, remember, we always talking about having a seat at the table.
Right.
Okay, and if you don't have a seat at the table, nobody works with you, right? Nobody advocates on your behalf and your country gets blacklisted. And
Right.
so therefore, Carl Bethel was the CFATF chairman for 2020, 2021. And so, of course, he made sure that we were not blacklisted. And so he established, out because he was the attorney general at the time, so he established a compliance division in the attorney general office. And he, you know, they have a lot of departments that like, if you want to open up an NPO, you know, the nonprofits now have to be registered.
Right.
And so, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, the nonprofits have to be registered. So that registration goes through the attorney general office. So it just means that, you know, Pinder wants to now move that department and let somebody else, I guess, be responsible. And he just focuses on the judicial system, which is in a complete mess. And which is good because we don't need
Just good, yes.
Yeah, we don't need them to be co-mingling and they already can't handle it on their plate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, move them out and let some responsible governance, put it under central bank.
Qualified persons, yes.
Yeah. I was surprised that it was under the attorney general's office. I was surprised, you know, but it was because I understood because, you know, he was now having a seat at the table. And so he would need to be there to know how to speak knowledgeably to it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. Right. Okay, guys. Very good. Anybody else? My computer finally showing me the civic organizations. And so let me know if you have your 5% and you're not on this list. I have Renita, Satisha, Gia, Shauna, Carrie, Ria R, Geraldo, Latoya, Nicolette, Shalisa, Ria Butler, Shamara, and Demetria. Anybody else? No? Okay, so Diasman, you had your hand up. Are you not on my list? Shauna, Alisa, and Lanique, Hasty, Shavana. Y'all make sure y'all have, and I don't think we go straight to I think there's a deadline, so look back at the instruction sheet for your deadline. And please, y'all, please, I'll get your 5 cents in, so y'all don't be calling Miss Bullet begging and pleading for grades, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Give y'all every point possible.
But Miss Bullet, you are serious, because guess what?
I'm going.
Half of these meetings what everybody talk about. Well, not really half, but at least only 2. The one with the lady from the registrar, I attended that one, and the one with the children's organization, the Kiwanis one, I attended that one. But I get a little bit. Because as far as I'm concerned, the same set of people would always talk and they always want to speak. So I give them the floor. Every time I know, Miss. The last time my hand was up, I must be interacting too much with y'all till you take my hand down.
Well, mom, these people getting their points. Your name in on the list. I suggest you
Don't
join
get your
them.
point then.
I suggest you join them. You don't beat them, you join them.
Man, that's why I joined. That's why I joined. But guess what? Every time I come, some of them don't give nobody else chance to speak.
Well, you can't be mad at them. You have to say,
No, I'm mad at them. I'm mad at them. I can't be mad at them, but I just said at least some of them could give, some of us who won't hardly speak, give us a chance. But really, like we see the same time people always want to talk.
Well, you were supposed to participate every week. I wish I could
darling, Miss Outen just chime in. I just chime in and I just speak. Now you know that.
Well, you make sure get on my list, Miss Outen, because you ain't on my list. And this week 6.
Miss Bullard,
Right.
Miss Bullard, this is Shauna. I'm not on your list either. I
Shauna,
thought
let
I
me
talked
look.
too much. That's why
You
Shauna,
don't
don't worry. She have the same set of people who always be speaking every doggone week. She have the same set of people.
Shavana, you leave my people, you just help keep the class going. You don't be rounding them out. You applaud them now. You
Stop it now. Stop it now. Hold on. I ain't rounding them out now. But I'm just saying.
For keeping the class going.
Listen, some of the topics they talk about, I just try to chime in and try to catch on. Like for instance, I know I just signed on the late. So I heard Miss Carrie was speaking about the 40 recommendations and all of that. I heard her speak about that. I wanted to say I'm a little 2 cents, but I say, you know what? No, I said because guess what? I won't come in the wrong. I don't want to come in the wrong info.
Get on this list.
This is powerful.
Bowing these people out, they doing what they ought to do. They are trained well. I am proud of them.
You told us to be quiet and let other people who we haven't spoken have a word. That's why I didn't say anything.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Please let her know that. Please let her know that. Because every class that I log on, if I log on early, the same set of people would speak last week, wouldn't even give the set, wouldn't even speak this week a chance.
I wouldn't give them a chance either. I won't give them extra points.
Extra
points for speaking every week.
Well, I don't blame them.
Put your hand up. You put your hand up and you speak every week.
Good. Yes, ma'am.
Good.
I just want to give the breaking news that unvaccinated people are now free to move about the country. They can go in and out of the country with no issues.
They need to take these mask requirements away. That's what.
Yeah, they announced the mask.
Why should they take that away?
Why should they wait until October 1st though? Honestly, they should have been doing that from a long time.
They need to wait till January 1st, 2022.
Nah, Miss Bias, but I think you need to go sit in the corner and wait your turn. What you mean wait till January?
No corner, because I don't know about you, but before y'all even know about COVID and was scared of COVID, I had COVID and I was in the hospital and nobody knew what I had. So they can keep this mask. Thank you. Have your corner.
But you could keep the mask. You could keep the mask. It's just not mandatory. So if you still feel the need to wear it, then by all means wear it. It's just not mandatory. Like Ms. Bullet just have to turn around every day to go get a mask. Because everywhere I go, I don't have a mask. So I thank God this mask on. And I've been away.
I thank God myself.
Nobody was wearing a mask. But if you feel the need, please wear that mask. Yes, man. You from the island. What happened to your bush medicine?
Bush ain't do nothing. Okay? And them people didn't know what I had. Not until afterwards they wanted me to come in to do, after the pandemic started, they needed me to come in to do some blood work. They said, Miss Pot, I think you had COVID. I said, well, you think so? But people are very nasty, to be honest. And you will see the change with the mask, especially I work in a commercial bank, and the people, no.
Yeah, so just continue. Drink your pear leaf tea and continue to wear your mask. It just ain't mandatory. You can't be stopped or not let in. Like every shop I go to, I get turned around because I don't have a mask and I just have to go back in the car. Then sometimes I have to drive back home. So forget about that store. So it's beneficial for me. Okay, guys. Okay, very good. Before the guys now report us. Miss Gator, that show will be on HBO. Which show this is? Harold, are you talking about? I'm looking at your comments.
The same show is going on, right, Cha?
This show in this class, tonight show, yes. We need to make some money from Netflix. Good. I hope they post it. Anyway, good. Very good, guys. So it's good that you are engaged and you're reading the newspaper, you're abreast of what's going on. And again, like I said, it's important because when we go just at work, when we have water cooler conversations with the executives, they want to talk about what's happening in the news. And definitely when we go to Toastmasters, so there's no awkward silence and what have you. Say, did you see that they're going to drop the mask requirement, or whatever is in the news? They're good topics to start conversations, knowledgeable conversations with your colleagues. Okay, so very good. Now, most of you would have been in intro, and so we know chapter 6 upside down, right? And so for the most part, I do have a risk report that was sent by the Securities Commission that I want us to go through, because next week we are going to, I think chapter 7 talks about risk rating. So let me know to which extent, if y'all need a refresher, if y'all have it down pack in terms of risk-based due diligence, in terms of what is required for KYC, or do I just need to do an overview? So first I'll ask somebody. Carrie, you was an intro. I think not last semester. So let me know how you are with chapter 6, and then Demetria, who was new, and then Lanique. All three of you give me comments, and I don't know how far in depth I need to go into chapter 6, and if we can actually go look at this risk assessment and try and answer these questions. Is Carrie there?
I am, Miss Bullard. I am. I was. Okay, so you were asking if you can go on. I'm good with chapter 6.
Yeah, no, I mean in chapter 6. Chapter 6 is just a refresher of the risk-based due diligence. And so I'm asking you, at which level are you at? Do you need a refresher, or do you need me to go in depth? Or I don't even need to, I can skip that completely for you. I'm asking.
Yeah, for me.
Miss Bullard, I to be honest, I need a little in depth, to be honest with you.
Okay, Demetria, thank you for that. What about you, Carrie? Who was in?
So you can just do a refresher, but I mean, if others need an in-depth, that's fine, because I'm good with chapter 6, Ms. Bullard.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. Okay, so you're just, again, since for you who are comfortable, please respond to the questions that Ms. Bullard asked, okay? And please chime in. Remember now, this is supposed to be discussion-based. And I know a lot of times we are overwhelmed and we don't get the opportunity to read. So, but we should all be comfortable with chapter 6. So please talk back to me and let me know.
Ms. Bullard?
Yeah, 1 second. Lanique has her hand raised. Go ahead, Lanique.
Okay, I was gonna, evening everybody. I was gonna wait till you start. I thought you was gonna start talking about the chapter because I had like a question about it. That's why I'm comfortable with it. But if y'all want to do the in-depth, that's fine.
Okay, great. So we'll start with your question. So let's hear from Bria. Go ahead, Bria.
I was just asking what page chapter 6 is.
Oh,
no.
40.
That's page 40.
40? Okay,
40. Okay, yeah, because I have a 10-year-old version. Right. Okay, good. Okay, so Lanique, go ahead with your question.
Okay, and this is in relation to risk-based due diligence, and we'll be talking about. I had a situation today at work where we have in our policy where all different types of industries are risk, or how we decided as a bank, I guess, to risk rate them, right? And I looked at it, and it said it was a medium for this type of company. And when I went to get it approved or review it, the person reviewing it said, no, this is supposed to be high. And so I said, I don't think so, because in the policy it has medium. And they were saying that because they are approving it and they feel as if it needs to be high, it should be high. So my question is it up to us as a compliance officer to be taking our own what we feel it should be, or should it be what the policy says?
No feelings involved. If you tell audit you feel a way,
oh Jesus,
you write up right away. No feeling involved, okay?
Because
there's a policy, and we don't want people using their judgment, because I feel one way, you feel one way, Demetria feel one way, and Bria feel one way. Who way we doing?
That's
right.
True. I mean,
so the The
The
bank,
right way.
remember now, and I said this in my class last night, which you will hear when you listen to the recording. It's important to know your company's
Risk
vision,
appetite.
mission, and goals, and their motto, because we don't show up with our agenda. You work for Commonwealth Bank, you show up with the goals of Commonwealth Bank, not Lennox, not Gia's, not
Sorry,
Demetrius.
good afternoon, everyone. Lenique, I want ask a question. So you open up the new facility, right? It's a new facility onboarded, or this customer already had a relationship with Commonwealth Bank?
This customer has a relationship with Commonwealth Bank, right? But
Uh-huh.
he had opened it, our framework changed. So
Right.
he opened it in a time where I guess what he did would have been what he does. Sorry, he's an owner of a business, and it used to be considered, or we used to consider it high, right? But since they
Based
did
on
this
the new risk rating framework,
yeah,
he appeared as medium.
correct.
And we took it to your authorizing officer, and they felt as if it should have been high, even though your risk rating framework has him as medium.
Right, and I just want to explain to everybody so they could understand. This listing is like a very detailed listing of every single type of industry you could think, and they have the rating next to it. So like, it's no room for you to guess. Right, it's no room for you to guess. Well, maybe it is this or maybe it is that. Like, it's very clear on what they are. And the person said no.
Lenique, off the record, send it to me, please.
Yeah,
just send it to me.
But let me just tell you, Lenique, as the compliance officer has the right, but they cannot say my feeling. They must say, because of this situation, and they must put a memo to file. Because what happens when that person no longer works for you? And you have to explain the audit why it was high and not low, or not medium. Then what do you say?
That's true.
She did feel that way, but she don't work with us no more. So
I think everybody is taking this risk space, like they taking it too seriously or too literal.
Yeah, no, you could put because there are instances you could say that when Miss Bullet was married to a pep, but she's been divorced for 10 years. And so, I would recommend, because she has children with that pep, to put her at high risk, and then you make a memo to file. But you can't just say, because I feel that way. No, you have to have a legitimate documented reason, because when audit comes in, they're not going to ask you for feelings. They're going to say, bring these 10 files, we are going to review them. And they're going to say, according to your framework, you categorize this person incorrectly.
Okay.
And you will get a note for it. Now, if you could flip open the file and say, you see this note to file, Ms. Bullet was previously married to a PEP. She still has 2 children for him. They are underage. And so we made a committee decision to list Ms. Bullet as high risk. Okay, so anytime you go out of policy, it must be documented. Okay, you can't go out of policy, because 10 years from now, you won't even know why this person was high risk. Okay. And then the next person that comes in will feel that way. Right? Okay. Yeah. So a legitimate reason why and an approval to file.
Now, mind you, her reason was legitimate. It just that it used to be, like I say, back in the day before we reviewed our framework, it used to be high. But since they did the framework and they updated it, they now categorize that particular industry as medium risk to us. So that's what happened.
So this is what you say. Please make a note to file, and we will put it on. But your institution should be charging, like my institution charges $50 and $100 for a high risk customer versus $250 for medium or low. So you need to tell this, ask this person, who's taking, is the bank prepared to take on the extra cost? Is it really necessary to make this person high risk and subject them to enhanced due diligence and the extra checks and balances that need to be done, the extra cost and the costs associated with administration, because now this account needs to be reviewed every year. And if they say yes, then fine. Then let them document it, put it on file, and then nothing you can do about it. Just move on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
But you have to document these decisions outside of policy, or you get an audit note for doing it wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Bria.
I just had a comment, like, before she said it with us, when we onboard in two different ways. We have a manual process and we have like an automated process. An automated process have like an algorithm that calculates the risk based off of what the client entered into their application. And then the more manual processes, that's when we determine what the risk is, and mainly based off the industry or the type of business, so on and so forth. But like we have a whole list of the different industries and their different risk ratings by our standards, like for the
Right.
bank.
And
So
remember,
it's
Bria,
like we
that
don't really, sorry?
no, that framework has to be approved by the regulator. So you really should not be going outside of that framework, because the regulator has approved it, and that's what they are going to be checking against. Are you
Yeah,
doing what is written in policy?
Yeah,
Are
that's
you
what I was about to
following the
say.
framework that is approved?
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
was about to say, like, if we determine for whatever reason, hey, this isn't a medium, this is supposed to be high or whatever, just like you were saying, we have to document it, get
Yeah.
like a conditional approval and all those other stuff. Just make
Yes.
sure all the
I-
paperwork in line, because it would be an audit finding when the
Listen.
external audit comes.
Right, and those memo the files are very important. They save your life. But let me tell you what happens when you also open up a can of worms. When we allow exceptions outside of the approved framework, especially with risk ratings, to the private banking department, almost every file had a memo to file, a waiver to this and a waiver to that. And so we had our entire department full of files full of waivers. So, you know, when central bank came in, they said, okay, fine, you all did the right thing by documenting it. However, something must be deficient in your file if 9 out of the 10 files we reviewed had a waiver on it. So we still got an audit note. Okay, so be careful. Yes, if you go outside of the framework, document it. However, when you document in every file, you opening up a can of worms, and you still have a problem. So it's a double-edged sword. Okay.
Yeah.
So be careful of that. Shauna, go ahead.
Hi, I just had two questions. One, in reference to the PEP and his wife and them being divorced. I'm just curious to know, based on a risk-based approach, why are they still affiliated with the PEP if she's divorced?
Because they have turned
They
together.
have children under 18.
Maybe the children could
Yeah.
benefit it.
Yeah, they have children under 18. And I this is just a rumor now, a rumor. So y'all don't quote Miss Bullet. But in the last, not this, in 2 elections ago, when Perry Christie was running for prime minister, they did put a bank account statement with millions of dollars on the internet with his daughter's name. Do y'all recall that incident?
Correct.
Sorry?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So you have to, and remember now the rules for PEPs have changed. It's no longer 1 year after you leave office. It's your risk-based approach. I say once a PEP, always a PEP. Some institutions have said after 5, some say after 10. Again, that had to be approved with the regulator, and the regulator will come in and check. Now, we said 10 years, and there were some PEPs on our books that we did not classify as PEPs because they had already left office when they opened the account. And central bank came in and said, well, why didn't you risk rate these accounts? So we said, because they had already left office. They said, but the law has changed, and we approved your PEP status for 10 years. This person only left office 6 years ago, and they gave us an audit note for that. Okay, so you have to be careful of things like that. Whatever your policy says, that is what you do. Okay, 1 note, 2 notes, the file is okay. 10 notes,
and
you have a problem with your framework.
And my second question on my job, we are, I would say our risk rating form basically is like about roughly 20 questions, and they're yes or no as to whether or not, you know, it's a risk. And based on how many yes and how many no's, we do a low, medium, or high risk rating. Is that the norm, or is there another way?
It's not the norm, but I'm thinking it is best because industry wide, one of the major problems with risk rating, and we'll discuss this next week, is the scoring. And it's because, you know, it's an Excel sheet, formulas are lost, there's no end user computing, it can be manipulated. And if there are 6 persons in the department completing risk rating, 6 different versions of the risk rating there. And so the central bank has required us to go to Deloitte and Touche and have Deloitte and Touche check our risk rating every 3 months, and Deloitte charges $70,000 a year to do that. Okay, so the bank wasn't taking that on, and we moved from the scoring being numeric to the yes and no's as well. And that way you don't lose the formulas. Yeah, so that's like the new, easier way to do it.
No is fine.
Sorry?
Is the yes and no fine?
Yeah, the yes and no is fine. And like I said, it'll give you a more accurate one, because are you truly going to pay an accountant to check your formulas every 3 months? Yeah, okay, so there you go. Yeah, and they want an external accountant, like somebody in your accounting department can check it. They want an external somebody to make sure that it's not manipulated. So it's just too much. So many companies are moving to the yes and no's. Yeah. Okay, good. Any other questions?
Oh, we ain't got no PEPs in there.
Sorry?
PEPs in there.
PEPs?
Yeah.
Child, listen, I have a class, but I have 3 of them, and 2 of them are outside children, and they don't know that Miss Bullet noticed outside child, and that is a big problem. I hope none of y'all is outside children in here of the PEPs.
No,
if they don't know, I know that there's outside children, and there's be fighting me to the death.
Oh, but inside children.
Sorry?
Inside children.
I didn't hear you.
Inside children also, right?
Yeah, no, I mean like married, and I don't know how to make it sound diplomatic. It's an outside child of the marriage, not you had it before you was married, or no, the marriage is still going on, and you know that's my most diplomatic way. You know, Miss Bullet is be from the street sometimes. I would say
they still have
Camilla. They Camilla children. Avery, you want Camilla Charlie?
Are they still considered?
Are they
Avery,
still
you want Camilla
PEPs?
Charlie?
Pardon me?
You want Camilla Charlie, Avery?
No.
Okay, I want to offend nobody, but y'all understand what I mean, right?
So they'll be still considered PEPs if they were before.
Of course, once you know, and sometimes it's hard to know because their last names are different, but you know, you are required to know your customer. And so, yeah, and the Bahamas is small. Thank God. If this was the US, you would never know, but you know, the Bahamas is small and everybody knows somebody.
Yeah, and from your last name.
Yeah, and so even though it's not customary, you know, we normally ask for your mother's maiden name in that event where we know that you may possibly be an outside child, and we ask, can you confirm your father's and your mother's name, please? And that's how we confirm it. Yeah, two of our prime ministers. Oh, listen to me talk. Okay, you all know this is it's being recorded. It's being recorded. Sorry.
Once you sign for it, that's it. That.
Yeah, and they listen to him and man. They sign in. They care. They have a whole wife, and they proud. They sign in. They there to catch
They better sign for the child.
Okay. All right, let's get back on track before Miss Bullet be in trouble again. Okay, so chapter 6, we go in depth. Customer due diligence, and again, in the intro, very popular question. Everybody's still getting it wrong. What are we required as persons in the financial services sector Are we required to know our customer, or are we required to carry out due diligence? We are required to know our customers' KYC, okay? And then you carry out due diligence on the KYC that you receive, okay? And so, of course, we know there are 5 statutory requirements. One is identification, record keeping, monitoring, the MLRO, and I missed one, training, right? Okay, and so in the purpose of this customer due diligence, you want to make sure that the customer is not representing others. Across the world, there's a lot of fraud. There's a black web. You want to ensure that it's a legitimate person that you're dealing with, because of course in the offshore world, nobody walks into the bank to open an account. We have those external asset managers around the world who receive documents on our behalf. And some persons, some companies just receive documents electronically now. They never meet the customer. So you want to make sure that it's legitimate. You want to comply with legislation. You want to reasonably guard against fraud. You want to ensure that you do not expose your company to any risks outside of your risk appetite. Russia might be outside of your risk appetite. So with PEPs or bearer shares or anything high risk. So this is the importance of carrying out that due diligence to ensure that you know your customer, okay? And so, of course, I always compare the Canadian banks to the Swiss banks. The Canadian banks are way more conservative. So, of course, you know, the high risk products and services like the cash intensive businesses like the web shops and the money services businesses, they don't do business with. They don't do business with the high risk countries, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, countries like that. And they also are more stringent than the regulator, because they don't ever want to be in trouble with the regulator. So they ask for more than what is required. So then, you know, they make conditions for human error. So the regulator asks for one piece of ID. You would find that the Royal Bank, the Scotia, the CIBC will ask for 2 pieces. Okay, in the Swiss bank, they deal with all the high risks. Anything high risk, they take bearer shares, they take Russia, Iran, they take Afghanistan if it was allowed. You know, they do all the PEPs and all the has-beens and the ones that people don't want to do business with. And they open up accounts. And so they don't believe in policy and procedure. They think it's a waste of time, and it hampers the aid of doing business. Okay, so that's just the difference between the Swiss and the Canadian banks. Okay, and so in terms of identification, of course, we know the full and correct name. And another industry problem is that we take in aliases. We take in Bob, we take in Will, we take in Bill instead of William or Robert, or, you know, so across the board, you know, at Royal Bank, there's a 45-page account opening form. And so you have to write your name in 6 places, and you have the initial about 10 times. Most of those spaces are empty, and sometimes they forget to write their name. And so our salespeople, because these documents would have come from Switzerland, from parts of Europe, they go and fill in, oh, it's supposed to be William, he wrote Bill, you know, all over the form. And they fill it in, and we find out that when Will or Bill shows up at court, he intentionally did that because he did not agree with those terms and conditions. And he has his copy where he put Bill, and we accepted it because we wanted to open that account and we had a deadline. And so now we are charged with collusion for Will or Bill for accepting his account opening forms like that and letting him transact all these months. And now he's about to go to jail, and we go with him because we accepted it. Okay, so you have to be careful of, if you have 10 spaces to be initialed on your terms and conditions and 1 space is missing, you don't go and let your salesperson initial that for them. Okay, because remember that client, especially if they are a money launderer, already charged with fraud or embezzlement, they know what they're doing. From the onset, they're trying to defraud the system. They know that we are overworking, underpaid, and we don't have a verification department, and the sales people on our back. And so they take advantage of that. They leverage off our incapacity to be able to get this account open in a timely manner, you know. And so we accept it, and they show up the copy at the court with their copy, and now the bank is charged with tampering with documentation. Okay, so the whole point of that account opening form is so if you have to show up in court, you could protect yourself and you could protect your institution. Please, please don't tamper with it. Send it back. Let them fill it out themselves, because a lot of times it's intentional. Okay, date and place of birth, purpose of the relationship, or purpose of the account opening. And again, we move from the rules-based approach to the risk-based approach. And so therefore, if you say this account is for cryptocurrency, then you should not be buying BMWs and Rolex watches out of the cryptocurrency money. Okay. And so back in the day, you open an account, we only check to make sure sufficient money was on the account and your signature match. We may do a call back and ask you, Lanique, did you send in this request to buy this BMW? And Lanique say yes, and we go and buy the BMW. But we don't look at the account and see that the purpose is for cryptocurrency. And so here it is, we are the gatekeepers. We allow Lanique to run off with the people's money just because her signature to match and the money was on the account. Okay, so purpose is very important. So you want to ensure when companies in particular open up accounts, most of them are omnibus accounts, which means that money does not belong to them. That money is somebody else's money. Okay, and so you want to ensure there's, you know, that purpose is filled out correctly. You all order stuff from China, where should we expect these buyers to be going and coming from? You all invest in the UAE, which company is, you know, so you want to be as detailed as possible and get sufficient information up front, because once that account opening and that money transaction, you will have held to close it, you'll have held to get another piece of information from that person. And the bank never wants to upset the customer. They never want to block the accounts, especially on the offshore side now, because we're talking about billionaires. So you don't want to upset them. Okay, so make sure you know the purpose and the nature of that business. And then you want to corroborate the information. There's no way if Ms. Bullet only makes $1,000 a month, I could be depositing 10,000. Okay, corroborate. Okay, if it's a company, you want 3 years of financials, send it to the accounts department. Does this company make money? No, then we can't open this account, because they don't make no money. All they can do is using this account for transactions, and some of our accounts have limited balances. You must keep $1,500 on it at night, and so therefore corroborate. But again, a big problem is our targets are too unrealistic. And so we out there selling our souls for these people to come open these accounts just so we could, you know, meet our targets. And so that's another thing that compliance officers have to look at. Are these targets reasonable? A lot of people are compromising themselves to meet targets. Okay. Nationality. Oh Lord, nationality and citizenship means 2 different things. But Ms. Bullet too tired to get into that argument tonight. Because I have some foreign people who insist that their mother is foreign, their daddy is foreign, but they're a Bahamian. You know, I'm not going to get into that argument, but to me, it's different. And especially if they're from a high-risk country, you have to document that. When they present you with that Bahamian passport, it tells you where you're born, right? It tells you. There's no way you could be a Bahamian from 2 other parents. Okay, and then some persons are born in the Bahamas, but they don't have Bahamian parents. Okay, and I thought that you take the nationality of your mother. Okay, but yeah, anyway, make sure read what your policy say so you'll know how to handle those customers and you don't discriminate against anybody. Okay, occupation, again, estimated level of activity. How is it that you're getting paid once a month to work for government and you deposit in every week? That didn't make no sense. Where this money coming from every week? Okay, you have a side business, then we need to verify that. Okay, and then don't assume. I opened an account at Fidelity, and I was opening up a business account, and they insisted that I bring them my rental agreement. I didn't make the money for my business from my rental income. My rental income from my mortgage. I said, would you like me to give you the information on the business, on how I made the money? No, they wanted my rental agreements. I said, okay, fine, I have the rental agreements there, which has nothing to do with how I made this money. But anyway, okay. Source of funds, again, for low and medium, we get source of funds. For high risk, we get source of wealth. Okay. And I always supposed to look up on the insurance commission and the compliance commission. I forget, they want like an income statement or something to that effect is their requirements. Okay, if you're high risk. Okay, then it goes on to talk about company accounts. And back in the day, it used to be if you own 25% shareholdings in the company, it decreased to 10%. But back in the day, when it was 25, persons bought in shareholders registries would say they own 24 and 23%. Okay, to me, that's a red flag. And now it's dropped all the way down to 10%. Persons are bringing in shareholders registry, say they own an 8%. Okay, so to me, that's a red flag. Now, we don't have the right to ask them for KYC, but we can go online and Google and get the name, because the name is there. I would do a check on it. Why is this person trying to stay under the radar? You know, saying that they own 5 and 8% of a company, it just makes no sense. Okay, you want the board resolution, and again, it should have the company seal on it, because that's just another level of security or control. Almost anybody could go to the computer and type up resolution and say, I authorize Priya and Avery to open this account and sign on behalf of the Royal Bank of Canada. That's easy to type up, but what's not easy is to go and get a seal in the Royal Bank of Canada's name and stamp it, seal it on that resolution. Okay, so I always enforce, listen, you say this account for the Royal Bank of Canada, bring it with a seal on it. Then, you know, you can't walk in a shop and talk what you want to see. You say in the Royal Bank of Canada if you don't have authorization. Okay, that's a little bit harder to do. So make sure you look out for that seal on that resolution authorizing. I authorize you to open this account, and I authorize this person to sign on it. And we had an incident where our messenger went into another bank and opened up an account on behalf of Royal Bank of Canada. And so every time he picked up a check, he deposited it. And guess who was the co-signer? Him and his sister. So we realized, I said, I see in late fees from the paper company, I see in late fees from all these people, and I done cut the check. See the cut check right here, check in the GL, the check already cash. How these people could say we owe them and we have late fees? To come to find out, they never received the check. The messenger had ran off with like $100,000 worth of checks because of this fake account he had opened at another bank, whereas they didn't ask for the seal, and he could have possibly steal as well. Seal, I don't think we would send the seal to another branch. No, we wouldn't have done that. So it would have been hard for him to get the seal. So that seal is just an extra level of protection. Y'all following me? Y'all understand what I mean when I say the company seal?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Resolution?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody who know what Ms. Bullet talking about? Okay. I know because some of you work in web shops, so you may not necessarily understand. So just stop me and please ask any questions. Okay. Another thing is on this shareholders registry, it may say Bullet & Co. Okay. And we don't know who Bullet & Co represents. That can be Bullet and Ben Laden. So the law requires you to have a natural person. And a natural person means that it should say Avery Gomez. okay? Not Avery Gomez and Co. Because then that means we need to know who the and Co represents. And so there's normally a nominee agreement saying that I hold these shares on behalf of Avery and his wife Nicolette, right? And so we
Right.
need to then get KYC on his wife, right? Because she is a shareholder as well. So please make sure your documentation reads correctly and you find out who that Sunshine Insurance, who the owners are. Okay, it should never be a company. And back in the day, we had loads of problems with that because we had these accounts, we did not know who the beneficial owners were. Okay, so that was a big, big issue. Must always be a natural person, no matter how many layers. And perhaps in the retail world, y'all don't see the layers, but in the trust companies and in offshore banks, oh my God, they say Avery Gomez and Co. own Lanique Bessel and Co. Lanique Bessel and Co. owned by a trust, owned by Demetria Seymour. It's like 10 layers.
Yeah.
It can be 20 layers. You need to know the natural
that's
person at the back, at the end of the story. Okay? Okay, good. And you all have that experience? Avery, you saying yes, you're familiar, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I also saw where they like black out the name.
Oh no, you know blacking out. When they bring that organizational chart, no blacking out. We need to see every name, every owner, and every connection, and all of them have to be verified.
Yeah, I saw one that where one or two of the names is blacked out. But then the person tried to say, well, they're not actually signing on the account, so you don't really need
It doesn't
to know who
matter.
they are.
It doesn't matter. We are required to know our customers and everybody all the players involved in this puzzle. I say I need to see a ball who have a part in it, and so there's no blacking out. And across the industry, this is a problem. Organizational charts that have blacked out or wiped out is unacceptable. Distorted pictures, unacceptable. Pictures that are not certified true and correct, photos that are stamped in Spanish and French and Mandarin, all of these are problems across KYC and they're unacceptable, okay? And so if that customer does not walk into the bank, that ID needs to come in color. And I say in color, if you are scanning to a system to save that, and if you're keeping files electronically, let's just say your building burned down or your storage facility at Lake Road burned down and you have everything electronically. When you try and print a black and white color picture, it distorts. The name starts to like erase. Like how the fax paper used to do in the day, like how the ATM papers do. You try to keep that ATM paper 1 week later, all the writing off it, right? And so therefore you don't have proper records. So upload in a colored picture so you could get a good, if you lose the file and you have to recreate it, or if you just keep stuff online so you have a good copy, okay? And if that person does not walk in the bank, you do not certify true and correct, stamp that this is a correct copy because you did not see it, okay? And like I said, my CEO, I called the other day, I said, do you know Avery Gomez? He said, no, where's Avery from? I said, from Switzerland. He said, oh, I know everybody from Switzerland. I said, but you, yeah, I say, you certified true and correct, stamp this person, and they say this is a fraudulent document. I filed in the STR right now. He come running down the stairs. Oh, can I see it? So I showed him. Can I borrow this file for a second? I said, oh, no, this is my custody now. You know, borrow it. So they shred stuff and they take stuff home. So now I have to lock that file away. I have to keep that file in my purse to make sure nothing go missing, you know? So you be careful of that, please.
Miss Bullet, I have a question. What if they show us the passport? What if they show us the passport on Zoom? Could we certify it as true and correct?
And oh, no way. No.
What?
No.
Okay.
There is, WorldCheck has a passport also
Verify
thing on your company has to pay for that. Other than that, the person who receives it in Switzerland or whatever country, they certify it. And they should be a consultant or an external asset manager or something, you know, showing you a thing on Zoom.
What about like digital wallets?
Is there who verifying? That's the thing.
That's what
Is there a
I
company
asked.
verifying?
I mean, yeah, because
Okay,
people don't
you
use
said digital wallet. Okay,
okay,
this
like
my understanding. This my understanding with digital wallets. There are regulated exchanges and unregulated exchange. Unregulated means they report to a regulator and they have to accept KYC. Unregulated means they do not have a regulator and they could just open the account without KYC or the wallet without KYC. So who would you trust?
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I think that's what I asking. I asking you like see, Bria just asked if we could certify over Zoom. What if we want to see a client's wallet over Zoom? Can we do that?
What I don't when you say see it, what are you saying it for?
Like, like say they want to use it as source of funds, right? And you know, some of these wallets and stuff, you can print down statements. You just have to see the wallet, like the pay. Are you familiar with that? Like the home page?
No, I'm not familiar, but let me pretend to be the regulator. What you can show me when I reach in?
I showing you the client's profile, their name, their address.
Checking source of funds.
Yeah, that's this on the source of funds, their name, their address, the company's, I guess, the company's logo or stamp.
And the balance is beyond the wallet too, Miss Bullard.
Yeah, but you only looking at it on Zoom. Are you doing a screenshot?
Okay,
and
so
putting it on the file.
Yes.
Sorry?
We are, and then we also have the capabilities of running that wallet through let's say World Search. We have those capabilities too, to see if the wallet runs a risk.
Right, and so that's what audit will look for. The verifier and a screenshot. We want to see what you saw, and we want to see who checked it.
Okay.
Okay, it can't just be that you see the wallet and there's no copy on the file or there's no copy in the system. You have to have a proper audit trail. You can't just tell me, oh yeah, I saw the wallet and the money was there or it was verified.
Okay, let me put it in next way. Okay, you see how we have external asset managers all over, like you said, right? Let's say one of our EMAs, they go out to the client shows them their wallet. They can go look through the wallet, look at the balances, look at the different accounts and such. Would that be viable?
No, but that's what I'm saying. With this audit now, remember now, whereas just like basic banking is, where there's a debit, there has to be a credit, right? Always. So with these wallets, we have to have the same premise. We have the preparer and the checker. How when audit comes in to check, what does audit see? Audit can't see what's on the file. Something has to be on the file, or there has to be a snapshot, and there has to be, I verify that this snapshot is through.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, right. we have a snapshot. Let's say us here in the Bahamas, we have a snapshot, but the EMA, they actually saw it and they can verify that this is true.
Okay, but you have an agreement with this is what you do. You send the EMA Bahamian law and they sign off on it and that they agree to comply with Bahamian law. And then you'll have a contract with the EMA. And if there is a loss, normally there's an indemnity insurance or the EMA is responsible. You see what I mean? So the institution is protected.
Okay, just like the same way, like say an EMA would go do a home visit to verify their proof of address. Right, same thing, right? And they would like prepare a little statement saying, I visited Avery's home on September 22nd. It is indeed on number 1 Bria Way in Nassau, Bahamas.
Yeah, but that has to be like certified.
Certified by them.
Right.
Yeah.
And like an
Okay.
agreement already has to be in place.
Okay. Okay.
Right, right. But then, like I say, audit has to see something.
Yeah, that would
And
be on the
something that it
file.
was verified. We need to check it, a time, a date, and that it was verified.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
asking questions, so nothing serious.
Yeah, I'm not so familiar with the wallets. However, the
I
same
understand.
KYC, the same checks and balances, the same audit trail remains.
Do the same thing.
Yeah, you have to find a way to have an audit trail for somebody to come behind you and check that you actually did. You can't just say I did it. And you can't just certify a document and say, no, we need proof. Right?
I understand.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these wallets and stuff, they don't even have your name. Like I have a wallet that don't have my name. Like nothing
But
ties
that
me to this
means
wallet.
is that on, but
That's
see,
like-
okay, it doesn't have to have your name, Priya, but are you with a regulated exchange?
No
Are you with
comment.
a regulated
No
exchange?
comment, Priya, no
Oh,
comment.
okay then.
No
But let
comment.
me just say, if you were with a regulated exchange, your number is there, right? And so
Yeah,
we call the
my-
exchange who is regulated, and we say,
Yeah, my account
can you
number.
send us the KYC on 1, 2, 3, 4? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. I got
But
you.
on the
I still
unregulated
think
exchange, there's
I
no
still think
way.
they're working on it though over here. They're working on it. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people have these wallets, like what we talked about last class, how they could transfer to certain banks.
Right.
But some
right.
of these wallets, yeah. Then
Yeah, but the
all that
banks,
regulated.
I am certain that commercial banks are not dealing with anybody on an unregulated exchange.
Regulated. Yeah.
Right. It has to be regulated, right? That means
Yeah.
that exchange is now responsible for the KYC, and if anything goes wrong, we go directly to the exchange.
Okay. Yeah, Miss Bullet, I
Okay.
only get your perspective on it since we in that conversation.
Talking about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Good.
No criminal
Okay,
activity.
so
Yeah.
yeah, okay, good. So of course we know that we asked for the memo and arts, and we asked for, make sure we want to check the date of commencement, the products and services provided, because we got a document where I think I told you all the story where the person provided the IT platform for Pornhub. I told you all that story. And so all the Christian people was giving Miss Bullet 15 looks and say, oh my God, Miss Bullet, no, we cannot do that. But he only provided the IT platform. And so you want to make sure that the services that these companies provides are within your appetite, okay? A lot of these companies provide cryptocurrency now. And so if your bank says, no, we don't want any crypto accounts, then it's no, if it's no Venezuelan accounts. And so you want to make sure you understand the nature of their business and what they do. And then when there's that big complex web of this company is the owner, this one and that one, you in fact for all accounts, if you want to properly know your customer, you want an account opening synopsis where you write a little history, where did people get this money from, who these people are, what type of business they are in, and that makes it easier, when you're doing reviews, and that helps you to know who your customer is. And again, we are in the era of relationship building, and so you want to make sure that you build a relationship with your customer so they are comfortable sharing all this information with you, okay? And so if a company was just established, they don't get a good standing till 1 year after, so you want to make a note that 1 year after and every year afterwards you get a good standing. And for their registered office, whoever is their registered agent, you want to make sure that you get their memo and arts or some information on them, and you want to make sure that you get a good standing for the registered office as well, even though that's not who has the account with you. You want to just make sure you verify I think it says at least 2 directors and the members and officers. You just want to word check all of them and just to see who these people is and what do they do. You'll be very surprised. And then again, you need to know who are like U.S. citizens and if they're liable to the U.S. for taxes or any other country. Okay. The potential parameters, like I said, the size and case, and again, corroborate this information. People now say we need a job letter. We get the job letter. The job letter say this person is going through this a week, making $50, and we opening up a $5,000 account. I've seen so many of them on file. Or we work for government. We make $50,000 a year, but we get deposit every week. Or we get a pay stub. This money going to the mortgage, that money going to the car loan, this money, you only get $5 left. How you bringing in $10,000 a week? Okay, so you wanna make sure if they have outside income, bring me those lease agreements, bring me the copy of the conveyance, bring me a copy of the bill you inherited this money.
The receipt
okay?
from okay.
Sorry, Avery, I didn't hear you.
What if I bring a receipt from Island Luck?
Sure. Legal. Right. Island Luck legal. Back in the day,
so I have to bring my receipt, right?
Well, please go take them minutes.
What about if a student comes in to open up an account, a college student comes to open up an account, and of course, you know, they're not working. The person that's funding it is their significant
sugar daddy. You know, sugar daddy is.
No, it's really okay. There was an instance where a student, she came in, she was 20, and she says that her boyfriend gives her money every
How do
week.
you corroborate that though? The boyfriend will then have to bring in the job, everything that because they are self-employed person. I mean, they are housewives. So how do you treat a housewife?
But that's not a wife. That's a girlfriend.
How do you treat a house girlfriend who was about to be a wife? The ass money.
Well, I mean, okay, well, in this instance, the boyfriend was a customer.
Okay, so that was an easy verification.
Just transferred it.
Not really.
Why
Because
not?
the last time
the boyfriend was in a compromising. The boyfriend was in a compromise. Okay, that's why. Okay.
So it was okay. The boyfriend didn't update in a few years, like a lot of years, and I mean, there's a thing we do where we'll just hold everything on the account, but it's just that the branch was holding the amount that was on the account. Say if there was 49,000 on the account, they'll hold 50,000. So then he'll come in and he'll deposit above that, so he's able to get money like that.
Oh, so you let your okay, but then you should have blocked that account completely. So
Right.
so you can't
I think it has now.
Okay,
I think it has now, but he like
but then if your primary source of income is shady, then you shady. Because if we can't verify him, you can like that's just it. We have housewives. Like I had a situation where this husband and wife was my client. Just when I went over the trust, I was actually an account officer. This husband and wife was my client for 5 years. The daughter brought home her best friend from college. And the father ended up leaving the wife for the daughter's best friend. Okay? So of course, and these millionaires, and they had a house on Paradise Island, and they said, Miss Bullet, come play tennis with us and stuff like that. And so Miss Bullet used to have to dress up in a little tennis outfit and go and try and run up and down on the court and the piece there. Because normally you'd have to go to lunch and do all sorts of stuff with the customers. And so I just felt terribly uncomfortable. So the wife separated her money and said, well, I still want you to be my account officer. The husband separated his money and then later on added the new wife. And now the husband then goes and say, oh, Miss Bullet came and played tennis with, Sheila all the time, invited to tennis. So here it is now, the new wife invite me to tennis and I have to go, and so here it is, I'm sitting down with the new wife and, she trying to be nice and fit in and everything. And like, she like 25 years younger than him. And she is telling me that she knows that he added her to his account. However, she wants her own money. So she has to help her family. And I was like, why this woman telling me these things? And she is like, so yes. So I'm going to ask him for $1 million. And I want you to open an account and put that $1 million in my name alone. And I was like, oh, you're gonna have to get it. So yes. Surely must
So she said,
when she opened that account with 5 million. Oh,
she gotta get that.
Wow.
She opened that account with 5
Miss Bullet, where you
million.
find them at? I only asking for my friend.
Here they have this big mansion right in Ocean Club Estates.
Oh,
and Miss Bullet was
oh,
caught right up in
Club?
that triangle.
Oh.
Trying to be faithful to the ex-wife and understanding that when the ex-wife tells me everything, and she's like on the phone crying and saying she can't believe this, and her daughter lost a best friend, and what if this and that.
Yeah, you was caught right up in the middle, right up in there.
Right up, yeah. But
you was caught in a compromised position too.
Yes, and guess what? After she opened that account with the $5 million, she then told me, I must be reminded of my duty of confidentiality.
Wow,
I must not tell her husband that she's sending this money to her mother and her brother.
She's watched plenty Law and Order.
Yeah,
she knows
she was a smart girl.
She have one husband, one little thing somewhere else, her hometown. I see.
Yeah, but she sent and almost monthly she sent money to her family.
I just was gonna say, but it sounds like she sound like a foreigner.
Yeah,
because that's the most majority of foreigners do.
Yeah, and when I worked at Royal Bank, to open an account, you had to have open an account with $250,000. You had to have a network of like 5 million, and so we had customers with 10 and 20 million. There was wealthy people. We had the Bacardis, Bacardi rum. We had them. Yeah. Yeah.
So Miss Bullet, what in the case of
customers?
Miss Bullet, in the case of you work in the transportation industry, say taxi, where your income fluctuates and you have no way of proving that you got X amount of money this week or the weeks to follow, how do they verify it?
Well, all taxis now with they stopped the renting of the plate and everybody has to have a business license. And so therefore you should have an account and you need to maintain 3 years of financials. So you must deposit every day. And so the same thing you do for self-employed persons, you deposit every day.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
you deposit every day and then you pay
1 week I
bills.
can make 500, 1 week I can make 1,000. So they wouldn't
remember now, you go into the bank asking the bank for help. So these are the bank's rules. You must be able to determine which your salary is. And the only way for you to do that is at the end of the day, if you make $500, deposit that. And even if you have to withdraw $500 back, that's fine. We just need to be able to see what you would have made. And then we could do like an average, and that's how we come up with your salary. But you cannot walk into the bank and say, I make 50,000. You have to substantiate that. So all business persons, if you make $1, deposit that dollar. Okay. Withdraw it right back. And that's how you keep a record, and that's how you build your financial, your financials, so you can determine what your actual salary is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. Right.
So Ms. Bullet, so that same rule would have applied to someone like a fisherman.
Yes. Yes, and of course you all know Ms. Bullet have shares in a boat, and every day that's what we do. We deposit that money and we
so the fishermen need
to pay the people. Sorry?
The fishermen need a business license too?
Well, if you are legit and you have a commercial fishing license, your boat is registered. It's very easy. It's very easy. But even if you don't have the business license, still go and open the account and deposit every day so you can prove your income. Because like I said, you have to cooperate it. You can't just say I make 20,000.
Okay.
You have to
So
prove
let's just say, okay, I haven't been off work for a while because of COVID. Now all of a sudden, because the crawfish season, I decided to go out. I put in $15,000 now. Bear in mind that I haven't used my account for a while. So how is that you're gonna verify that?
Because you go, they ask you, is your account seasonal? Yes. And what it said, and they said, how is it seasonal? I say the grouper season is this, stone crab season is this, and lobster season is this. And so from June, you won't see any deposit till August, and then you will see this amount. And that's exactly what happens every year. So know your customer.
Right.
Know your customer. If you ain't doing nothing wrong, don't act like you're doing nothing wrong. You ain't doing nothing wrong. You ain't thieving. You really going out there crawfishing. Everybody knows it's seasonal. Now, if you come in June and deposit that $20,000, then you should be questioned. But not in August or September. The season open.
And they would know that from you open the account.
Because when I open the account, they ask me these questions.
You have a track record.
Yeah. Know your customer. Know your customer.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Remember that story what you tell us a couple months ago with the car wash person? Did you know him like that?
He was cleaning. He was right outside Royal Bank cleaning our car every day. You mean the one who defrauded the security?
The one from 50 to 50,000, eh?
I'm serious.
The Securities Commission, or the one who bought in the 10,000?
The one who brought in the 10,000.
Okay.
The one who bring in the 10,000.
The one who you open the account for $50 and then he brings 10 grand.
He was our car wash guy right outside. He cleaned my car for 5 years. I was a friend of Robertson Road and Key West Street for 5 years.
Man, he had Jack he bring that $10,000 to you.
Oh. So, there you go. Yeah, so I know, and I know the one who defrauded the Securities Commission. I know him from when he robbed Spanish Wells Bank.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. In fact, I just hailed him two days ago.
Aren't you still friends with these criminals?
Yeah.
Miss Bullard.
Law and Order. You all know what Law and Order?
It's a serious network, Miss Bullard.
Okay. Yeah, the criminals. You have to know, be book smart and street smart. Yeah.
All right then. Y'all heard from Miss Bullet first.
Yeah, you gotta be balanced.
That's a real balance.
Okay. How else you can know how to be, protect yourself from the
You're right though. You're right.
And scammers. You gotta sit down on the blocks with them. I always say be versatile. I could go sit, I grew up in Camp Road. I could sit on the blocks in Camp Road with the boys and be comfortable. And I could go sit in England with the Queen. Okay, that's how versatile I am. And I comfortable in Camp Road and I comfortable with the Queen.
Gangster.
But it helps.
It
can't be one-sided. Yeah,
that means you follow SPR easily on me. Sorry? And you wouldn't follow SPR on you.
I hear you, Shavana.
I said that means you will easily follow with SPR on me, but you wouldn't follow SPR on you.
But you have to be strategic. You have to be. And listen to me, Shavana, listen to me. Every bank robbery, every time something happens, all you do is you go sit down on the blocks, you get the whole story. Okay? The police don't even know what you know. Oh, sorry, Geraldo. Missed that part. That wasn't for you.
I remain silent.
Yeah, remain silent. But I just
no comment.
Think about it. The blocks always know what's going on. The police never know.
So we get our information.
Yeah, Geraldo, that wasn't for you.
I sit on the blocks too and hear the information, but I know what I do.
Okay. Use Raleigh. Use Raleigh from Randall.
Just learn a lot from the blocks, right, Geraldo?
Geraldo, you're a police?
I was a financial investigator.
With the police?
Smart one, Geraldo. Smart one.
Look how Miss Bullet giving away herself to the police.
Smart one, Geraldo.
I hope you write your notes. Anything could happen in Camp Road, you gotta hit up Miss Bullet because she knows.
No.
Miss, you know it.
Miss Bullet has been on the streets for a while.
Run the tape back.
But
So
I
Miss
could go.
Bullard,
Trust
what
me,
they
if
call
something
you?
happened, let me tell you something.
It's called a police.
No, I was not a get alias. No, I was a victim of trauma years ago, right?
Me.
And I really wanted to find out exactly what happened. And the police to me was joking. I sit right on the blocks. I find out the whole story. I find out where the people live, who they was, everything. I sit next to them and judge. Okay.
Wow.
All right. And I tell you all about that the other day when we was talking about the boy who got shot at the gas station. He had just come out of church on Michael Road.
And Fifth Avenue.
Sorry?
Michael and Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, on Fade Avenue. Who was in intro? We talked about that in intro. Because somebody said, well, how these people is know where these people is hanging out? And I say, when these people affect you, you find out who they are. Because I was affected. And listen to me, the next day, I didn't know who they was, where they did live, how they grew up, who their daddy was, and everything. And I sat next to them in church. You
I can
who
find
these
that out
people are.
in like an hour if you give me the name.
Sorry?
I's a private investigator too, you know.
Yeah, right away, you know, Bria, you and my name. I can call you on the side here.
The FBI.
Anyway, back to chapter 6. Back to chapter 6.
Well, y'all see how she done derailing from them the real meek say. Child, please. Boy, Miss Bullard, looking at you a little different now, man. I don't know.
Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Written confirmation of credits to an account and who will be beneficially owned by. So a lot of times we have lawyers and external asset managers or business introducers signing on our behalf. Okay, they are not the beneficial owner of the account, and you want to be careful of that because I had 2 incidences where one person said that they was the head of a drug association, but they reported directly to the prime minister. So of course they did not want to be labeled as a PEP. The next incident I had was where there was some sheik in the UAE that loaned this person some money to invest in developing countries. And the person was acting as if they were a missionary. So they came to the bank, they opened the account on the basis that they have this money, they do missionary work. Like, let's say they were a division of a Billy Graham network or something like that. And they have this money that they collected, like they were a nonprofit, and they were supposed to, go build schools in developing countries or whatever, like how China's give different countries a lot of stuff. And what we found out was their major contributor was a sheik out of the UAE. And so, of course, after, in-depth investigation, we had to label them as a PEP. Okay.
So this was over here, Miss Bullard.
Yeah, because Miss Bullard working offshore. Yeah, in offshore, right? These Swiss banks.
Wow.
Good. And listen to me, I get write a whole Netflix series of our customers. Okay. Everyone had these billionaires, and everyone had a story. Remember now, the Bahamas was a tax haven.
Right.
And so they didn't want to pay 30-40% each year. And so what they do is they come to Switzerland, to Cayman, to Bahamas, to BVI, and they open the account and they do not disclose to their government that they have this money sitting up in the Bahamas, right? And so they evade taxes. But now all the laws have changed, and so there's no more evasion of taxes. And so people just repatriated their money back to their country, because back then it was cheaper to pay $10,000 in fees than $300,000-$400,000 to your country each year in taxes.
It still is.
Sorry?
It still is.
It's still cheaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's against the law. It's against, there's no way for you to defraud the system now because
you could avoid the tax.
You can avoid rather than evade, right? And again, you have to have a private banker or you have to have a managed account. And like I say, only the very savvy bankers know how to avoid properly. most of them are borderline evading and could go to jail. And now they even changing the management agreement. So you have to keep abreast of how the law changes to make sure that you are avoiding. But most of the people who have all this money is government, is the PEPs. And so these laws for the masses, it ain't for them. So they always put a loophole in there to protect themselves. So the lawmakers who should be in jail, truly. Okay, let's remember, like I say, but the poor people is suffer. Only poor people is going to jail. Okay.
I suffer.
So yeah. So the book goes on to talk about customer due diligence, answers questions. What's the nature of the customer's business, interest, occupation? What is the customer's source of wealth? Is the current or proposed activity consistent with the customer's profile and commercial activities? What is the customer's source of funds? What is the commercial rationale for the relationship between the customer and the company? And again, of course, we have a lot of IBCs, international business companies. And again, that was another way to defray costs in terms to evade like some tax. And so there it says right now that it says you must have subsistence or presence within the country. Like, do you really do business in the Bahamas? Why do you have an IBC out in the Bahamas or the BVI? And there's something called ring fencing now that they check. Like, do you really need to have this company, or is this just for you to avoid company fees and avoid some taxes? So many laws out there. But again, there's a whole big book that says tax laws for dummies, loopholes for dummies, FACA and CRS for dummies, and you read it, it's like 100 pages, but when you read it, it teaches you how to avoid. So, we have a difficulty reading, so they put it in the book and nobody reads, right? So the objective of risk-based customer due diligence is to ensure that as risk within the relationship increase, so does the level of information obtained and verified also increases. Okay, so even though high, medium, and low, and we verify every 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year, if something happens, and I always use the story, Brave Davis' daughter got married, her fiance was on our books as low risk, and we were watching for when the wedding came, and it came in March, and he was enough for the next 3 years to be reviewed, and so of course we had to update him to high risk because he was now considered a PEP. Okay, so you pay attention to the news, you use World Check.
Carry PEPs hard, man.
We don't carry them hard. It's just that you gotta know your customer.
But they are usually the persons who, boy,
they more susceptible to bribery and corruption.
Yeah,
so that's why we have to check them.
Yeah.
Remember.
Not all.
But Miss Bullet, if I divorce a man long time, I shouldn't be considered a PEP?
So
well, it depends.
So where do you want me to put my money then? If I'm a PEP, where can I open an account? What you want me to do with my money?
You can open your account. Your account just to be heavily watched.
That's all.
Heavily watched or denied. Right?
No, it ain't denied. It's just increased.
Let me ask you a question.
Monitoring.
Right.
Who work for government and they rich off of working for government? Nobody else in the world can get rich off of a 9 to 5 except for government employees.
Really?
Correct?
No comment.
Okay, I guess I want it to be I want you to have awareness. No 9 to 5 is making a millionaire unless he's an MP. Right? And so that's why it has to be heavily scrutinized. So what about government employees? How many rich people work for government? Who became rich?
Well, Miss Bullard, I have to mention
many of them have very high paid, not most. 1 or 2.
But most successful being have some type of arm in the government. I mean, if you really search it.
Okay. So hold on a second. Hold on.
Miss Bullard.
sorry, go ahead, Shauna, and then we get, I didn't have what Avery said.
You have some rich people who have their children working in government. And I know of more than one case where they're filthy rich and because they want their children to learn how, what a job is like, they're working in government.
Shauna, what was my question? What was my question? Who became rich from a 9 to 5? That's not even the government. From a 9 to 5. Does a 9 to 5 ever make you rich?
One thing I've noticed in the Bahamas.
Yes or no? Wait, let me ask Shauna.
Yeah.
Shauna, yes or no? Does a 9 to 5 ever make you rich?
You can't get just your boss.
Which country are you referring to, Ms. Bullard?
Does a 9 to 5 make you rich?
Which country are you referring to, Ms. Bullard? Because a person in the US
country?
They could take their money working in a government job and invest in the stock market and be rich.
Yeah, but that's something else you picking up. Your hand still in something else. If you
mean just by the job,
right? If you solely have that 9 to 5.
That's what Ms. Bullard asked me, though. Ms. Bullard asked me, what if a government worker could from working 9 to 5 could get rich?
No, only from their 9 to 5.
Am I wrong?
That's what you mean. Only from their 9 to 5.
It's very
nothing
difficult.
else.
Very difficult. You can't get
Right.
rich with your boss working for your boss. So that ain't gonna work out.
Right. You can't get rich working for a 9 to 5 normally. Okay, and let's just talk about the Bahamas. We only have 400,000 people, right? Our prime minister's salary was announced at, I think, $76,000. Okay. Now he's also an MP, so he gets $28,000 as being an MP, and then he gets other perks. $100,000. Really?
Kind of money.
Okay. Thank you. And so if you're wealthy and your parents send you to work for Essex, then you was already wealthy. You will not, the average government salary, my cousin have a master's degree. She is some head thing up in oh Lord, what you call it, PHA. She making $40,000 after 30 years.
My Lord.
Okay. Like I say, so you could just gauge it by the prime minister's salary. If the prime minister's salary is 76,000 and the attorney general's salary is 66,000, come on. That's pennies. Most of them making 40,000 and below. The permanent secretaries make 45. And they are very few specialized persons within the government. Like they're like 10. One probably every, and they ain't even making like we have one Bahamian what you call it, the person who works in the morgue. We have one Bahamian. I don't even
forensic.
Forensic. Medical examiner. Yeah, the people who do the autopsies. One Bahamian.
Pathologist.
Pathologist.
Look in the chat. In the chat, Miss Bullet.
You know a secretary making 80,000 plus?
Yeah, I know one too.
Yeah, you know one. You know one. That's my point. You know one.
Yeah, but
they hire it.
Of course, that was done. That was done.
I know. A secretary.
Well, where the secretary is, he need an assistant.
You all remember the woman to BC who was a secretary or a cashier making 70,000? So yeah.
Where these people is, because I need that job.
Okay, if you were friends, lovers, and family, yeah, you can do that. But that is not the masses. This is my point.
Yeah.
Okay, one or two outliers. I think the commissioner of police salary is 55 or 60. Yeah. Come on, with crime like this. So anyway, I mean that's just my opinion. Y'all don't worry about Miss, but you won't get rich. But then a lot of them have big mansions. Their children going off to Canada to boarding school. And they live on the Eastern Road and they ride around in yachts on the weekends. So from where does money coming from? Like, so I think somebody say somebody was a bus driver. Did somebody say that? Let me see. Yeah, from a bus driver now to a pair. Come on.
Yep.
And I'm not downplaying it. Look at Rodney Mungo. Come on.
And what Rodney Mungo even is like.
Anyway. Okay. Yeah, that's just Miss Bullett's take on it. But yeah, you need 5 revenue in streams, or 2 or 3, and of course, or you could invest your money, and of course, you'll become very wealthy. But I'm just saying, normally, the majority of government employees, their salaries are 40,000 less, and I'm talking about the ones who've been there for 30 and 40 years. Okay, I worked at Royal Bank in operations for many years, where we approved the government salaries every month. The government borrowed money for the salaries, and I saw all of them. Okay, the government don't make no money.
Yeah, they ain't that much.
But it's that you get
that's the system to
yeah.
do all this.
Right. The benefit of it is the stability. You're gonna never lose your job unless you're crazy or your teeth. But other than that, you know, yeah. Okay, guys. So any questions on chapter 6? We understand due diligence. We understand our duty. In most companies, the reviews are piled up. The laws just changed in 2018. Like, we had 800 accounts, and so, you know, we catch up with all those reviews. One organization that I audited, their account opening forms did not ask the right questions, and so they couldn't properly risk assess their customers, and so a lot of people use judgment. And so now they have revamped their framework, got it approved by the regulator, but now they don't want to send out new forms to 800 people. That's a whole, you know, so they have a lot of deficiencies. So there's a lot of deficiencies, like I say, across account opening forms, but it's good to now get people to train with the new laws and do it properly. And what's very important is that record keeping. And, you know, we just send the slowest person in the document control room, and we just want them out of the way. But you have to have a special, you know, filing. You have to be very meticulous if you want to be able to find things when you're looking for it. So I want a seasoned person in my document control room. I want a seasoned person who calm enough to sit down and put those files together in date order and protect them. They are very important. That's the only thing you have to keep you out of jail. And like I say, not only compliance officers go to jail now, everybody goes to jail. So a very meticulous, seasoned person who knows the value of those documents in your document control room, and a strong verification department that say, no, this passport copy is not acceptable. You can't see the name. The picture is distorted. It's not certified true and correct. There's no memo to file. Don't file that file away and talk, but in 30 years, I can bring it back. 30 days. Once you open that account, takes you blood to get anything from those customers. Takes you blood to get updates. And the banks will not freeze those accounts, and they will not close nobody out for having a decision account. Okay, so please do your best upfront to verify that customer properly. Okay, and stop all these exceptions and going outside policy. Nobody is gonna say how you did feel that day, why you do this. You ain't gonna be, you might even work there by the time it's already come, and whoever is left will suffer and could possibly lose their job from the number of mistakes found across files. Okay, and I told you all the story about the Russian name. When you're dealing with countries, be careful of Russia. Females take on what is it? A feminine tone, and so female would never be called would never have a SH last name. Females would be CH if the daddy is SH, because it's a feminine and masculine names. And so you will have two customers and you will not even know that that's father and daughter just because the last name is different. Okay. And I had a customer like that had an SDR. And so, you know, I learned that. And then I told you all about the spelling of the name. If that country speaks another language, when you world check that person, do not put it in English. Okay. If they spell their name in Russian, and I give you all the example about the Dmitry, D-Y-M-T-R-Y is the Russian spelling, and D-I-M-T-R-I-E is the, American spelling. And nothing came up under the American spelling. And when I pulled up the Russian spelling, because it was on another document, oh my God, the man had been to jail for money laundering and was trying to bring $10 million to the bank. Okay, so I'm glad I got that. So if you deal with countries, please pay attention to the language. You'll be very, very surprised. And that account officer was rushing me. Oh, I need this account open today. I need this account open today. When word check spread out all them hits, I was like, oh God, I thank you. I thank you that this happened to stop this right, this check. So I was about to approve that account. Okay, so be very careful if you work in the offshore. Okay, any questions or concerns?
No question.
No? Okay, how are we with the classwork? Are we following through with the chapters, or we been overworked?
No, we're not.
We've been overworked.
Okay, so we want now be organized, better organized in Miss Bullard. We on chapter 7 next week. So we don't want to wait. Are we speaking to our organizations in terms of study leave? No? Nobody?
What was the question?
Bullard,
Sorry.
I'll be honest, that's not gonna happen for
With study leave?
a few of us. Okay.
No.
Yeah, is your organization paying?
No.
Even if they pay, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, because
I'll be honest.
Yeah, because the institute has gone out and told them, if you offer benefit of paying the school fee, it's ludicrous not to not offer study leave. Okay, Renita saying she gets 15 days. Oh, that's excellent. Renita.
Yeah,
okay,
Renita, where this is where you work.
Renita, put in your days, because they know the value, and these are the things that you need to bring up, anonymously if you feel like you'll get backlash. But you need to say, you're paying for the school. However, the next part of the benefit is that you give us study leave. So yeah, Renita, stagger your days. Try and get 2 days now, so you can get from 1 to 5, and then take, if you don't have any other courses, then take take another 3 days closer to the exam, so you're not overwhelmed. Okay, but I also suggest that you take the day of the exam off, so you're not rushed and overwhelmed. And then don't wait till the day before, the Friday before. Take it the week prior, because when you off, your husband think you must do all this once, the children think we could go to the beach, and then you decide to clean your house, and now you're tired. Okay, so please stagger your days. There's a family responsibility leave. I don't know if your company offers that. Yeah, and you can take 1 or 2 of those days. Like Renita is saying, she's traveling, and if you're stuck in the airport for 2 hours, please take your paper to read. Today I had to wait in an office. If you go into the doctor, you just wait to the doctor for 2 hours. Please take your book, download it to your phone. Do something, wherever. If you're stuck in traffic and driving, but if you're not driving and you're stuck in traffic for an hour, take advantage of when you have some downtime, just to read over or to look at the questions and to make sure that you comprehend what is asking. Okay, and then get the recordings from Miguel and just put in some earphones. If you run in the afternoon and listen to it while you exercise, I know you only want to have a split voice whilst you're trying to exercise, but I get some suggestions to help you. And then the week prior, please have some downtime. Please feel good. Most of my students, they don't do well because they're overwhelmed by this meeting, by work, by husband, by children. And so get that help, please, from home. Get that support as you go through this course, because it's not easy to work and go to school. And I just have to keep saying it. When you all wake up in the morning or something, I need some time off. Please take a break. Burnout is now a medical condition, and a lot of persons are suffering from it. Okay. Okay, guys. Miss Bullet Maureen, that's all the talk I have left in me.
That's all you
any
have for
questions or
today.
concerns?
Mom, Miss Bullet Maureen's no joke.
Any questions or concerns?
Miss Bullet, when is the ICA program after this? I mean, when is it offered again?
It'll start in January.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're gonna go in October. They're going to go into governance, risk, and compliance. And then if you start that, you will overlap with anti-money laundering that starts in January. So we always suggest that everybody starts in January.
Okay.
Miss Bullet, when is compliance again? My boss asked me that today and I forget.
What is, sorry, what's your question?
I said, what?
I still didn't hear you, sorry.
Compliance day.
Oh, compliance day. It's
October 6th.
October 6th, yeah, money laundering reporting, or MLRO day, they used to call it. So yeah, call BIFs and get some information, or go to the BACO website. There should be some stuff on the BACO website. But definitely, if you are in the compliance department, you should have already been registered. You should already pay
I asked my legal counsel.
Shavana, you asked who? I can't hear you.
No, I said I asked our legal counsel at the office if I could go along. And she never answered me.
Okay, well, ask somebody else, because I always say go find a knowledge person within your organization who could get things done. Some people it's just block you, so go somewhere else. If you know somebody who's reasonable, and you'll be surprised. You just have to find the right person. Okay, but y'all please, y'all go with your go to the hairdresser, fix your hair, face beat, nice suit, high heel shoes. Please look right. Not you around.
So you said BACO is putting this one on.
Yeah, and it's in person.
Well, no, I've been to one that our office hosted.
Every year they do it. Every year, yeah. So please look right. You'll represent Miss Bullet off the island, so I ain't gonna be there. But I can see.
Yeah, child.
Y'all please look right, because that's the first check I do it.
If the company, I have a question. If the company don't pay for you, is it still like open to the public?
Yeah, it is. You can pay for yourself.
To attend?
Yeah,
okay.
You can pay for yourself, and I think it's worth it. And make sure that you go in as a student. So ask Miss Dean for the student rate.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and just have a good time. And like I said, network. That these people will help you. Compliance is decision based. Okay. And you won't always have all the answers, and you want to make the best decision. So you want to be able to call up your network. And I run it past 5 people before I make a decision. What's your take on this? How do you feel? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Document what everybody says. Document my decision and why I made it. At this time, it was COVID. Because 3 years later, I can remember it was COVID, and I do it like this, and then people will be like, oh, Miss Bullet, you do it like that last time. And I have to say, because of COVID. However, it's not COVID, so no, we have to do it differently now. Okay, so get out there, get your name out there. When you send your CV, they know Bria, they know Demetria, they know Diasman, they know Gia. Okay, so
have our CV on honey.
Yes. Why not? If you're ready to make that move, I'll do a little investigation on the company. And make sure you go into a company that is within your risk appetite. Okay, because a lot of these companies in the offshore world outside of your risk appetite, you're going straight to jail.
Yeah.
Listen, Geraldo, but he going to sit on the blocks in Camp Road. Geraldo, you from Camp Road? You gotta be from there now. If you're not here, where you from?
I'm from Camp Road.
You gotta go where you grow up, Geraldo. You're young, so you might grow up in Cable Beach and stuff.
I don't even know what Cable Beach is.
Which area you grow up in, Geraldo? You go sit on your block. You don't go in no toys trying to get
Geraldo sound like he ain't want to tell us now. Geraldo, don't get quiet on this. Don't get quiet on this thing.
Those John didn't want to tell us he's a police. And
No.
I done search him up.
No comment, no
No,
comment.
you have to go. You have to go where you go up. Where
Nah,
you
nah,
know.
sound like, hey, Orlando, sound like Bria watching you. So Charlotte, she's a PI.
Yeah. You have to go on your own time. Like I say, where the people know you. But like I say, be always versatile. Sit with the queen
The king.
and sit on the blocks and be comfortable in both arenas and you'll learn a lot. Book smart and street smart and balance. Okay. Okay, guys. So y'all have a great week and y'all do some of the class work. Like I say, time is winding down. We're on week 7 already. Please don't let it sneak upon you. Please. Okay.
Miss Bullet.
Miss Bullet.
Yes.
Before
We
you
have to
leave,
submit that?
Sorry.
before you leave, one more time, come. What classwork you talking about?
Not in week 7.
Miss Bullet, are you requesting that these dates be sent to you, or you just
this child,
Miss Bullet?
it's just for practice?
What you say, Miss Carrie?
Miss Bullet, are you requesting that it be sent to you, or it's just for practice?
It's just a practice.
Okay.
Miss Bullet, but any other workshop on the exam, I just want to know.
All of those questions are past exam questions. All your homework are past exam questions. And like I said, we have a test bank with critical questions. So don't be surprised if you see those questions on the exam. And this is why I'm giving it to you for practice.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody who been in intro know that whatever Miss Bullet say,
That's right.
that's what to be on the test. You better listen.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Okay, Shavana, tell her.
You asking me to tell her, and I asking you now what questions you talking about?
Oh, it's you. Oh, I thought that was I thought that was Roka to see you asking me, but no, Miss, please go look at the welcome note. Now you know better. You know better. All right. You know no person here. You know better. So
I
go
thought
look at
after we already submit, that's it.
You thought what?
After we already submit, that was it.
Okay. All right then. You better go read. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hold on. Let me see what Renita said. Renita, she's going to read. Oh, she will make sure she on the list. Our entire department is going to Baco doesn't answer their phones. They need to update their website too. And currently for Baco. Okay, please speak to Miss D and make all these reports to Miss D, and please speak to Miss D. Okay, let me go over this reading list for Renita. Let me make sure she on this list.
Me too.
Well, lo and behold.
Me three.
Shauna, Bria R, Shavana, Hasty, Nicolette, Shalisa, Shamara, Alicia, Bria, Satisha, Geraldo, Gia, Yasmin, Carrie, Bria Butler, and no Renita. Renita, you always the way when you read the newspaper and tell us. When? Tell me please. When?
Miss Bullet, I tell you for the newspaper, right? I think I
I think she read last week. Yeah, she read last week. See, Miss Bullet, you don't see Miss Bullet, you better stay focused.
She know why she tell me check that. Renita know why she tell me check that. And she know her name wasn't on this list. Renita,
funny.
You were supposed to tell me about question 1. And when I asked you, you say you good with question 1.
Renita, what you mean you don't work in this hour? What government job this is?
I want to know.
Geraldo, do your job.
Every week
She is
anyway,
police.
Renita, I gotta go listen to our recording to see what your newspaper clipping was about. Tell me.
Ice cream.
I remember you telling me, Miss Bullet, I straight. I work in compliance and we have a lot to do. Okay. Which your newspaper clipping was last week? Tell me what it was about.
But she really can't even talk.
The island, the people try to sell, wasn't there when they sell. I treat you all talk about that. Bria, tell us about that, Bria.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then, Renita.
Fighting
but you better 2 or 3 more weeks. one newspaper don't count. And you won't hear Shavana around these people now who don't give her a chance to talk.
Me? Miss Alton is quiet. No, girl, I don't want Bria to say, but I have a very harsh voice.
She said the people talking every week. 1 week you
I didn't say harsh. I said
now next week.
The same thing, honey.
Next week you read this newspaper and you come with some more stories for me. Thank you very much.
So only one thing is I'm missing is now it's just this social event then.
Yeah, tell you better get on this list. You better get on.
Bria, next week class, you don't say nothing. You and Miss Diasmet, y'all don't say nothing. Let us all speak.
Hold on, I haven't been saying anything in this class, and I'm gonna talk next week.
Y'all gotta give us a chance. Right around now, I step into your job because we need back up here.
Because you can take your lunch hour. Take your lunch hour. You don't have to take off. Just take your lunch hour and talk to us. You don't got to take off. Take 5 minutes and give us a story so you can get all your participation points. Okay?
My advice to everybody who's trying to talk, at least sign in at least 30 minutes before the class time and put your hands up.
Okay, so you must see could get us have a plane waiting from our jobs to get us home in time then around the.
No, when I sign in, like
I signed on like 5. I signed on like 5:30, and it was only like 2 of us here, and ain't nobody had their hand up. Now when all y'all come in here and I see Miss Politny and pop up, I put my hand up.
Okay,
but I ain't gonna put it up no more. Okay,
hey, you give them a chance, hey Bree. Hey Bria, give them a chance. Give them
like I stopped them from talking. All right.
Okay, Miss Bully.
Okay, guys, y'all be good. Y'all have a productive week, and we'll see you
next
week.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
All right. Good night, all.
All right. Good. And Renita say she's talking first next week. Okay.
Good night.
Okay. Good. Have a good evening.
All right. Good night.
Good night, y'all. Good night. Good night.